You are welcome back to my show, ladies and gentlemen. The most anticipated interview that was scheduled to never happen has found its way to happen in the Kremlin in Russia between Tucker Carlson, an ex-reporter of Fox News in America, and the president of Russia, President Vladimir Putin. Now, the Kremlin is like the White House of Russia, where the Russian government is situated. The entire interview lasted 2 hours and 7 seconds. And I thought Tucker Carlson did an excellent job by asking President Putin direct and important questions concerning the war in Ukraine and Russia's intentions for other neighboring countries, his plans for perhaps pushing the nuclear button maybe anytime soon, and so on. And I have found my opinion on this matter, and I would like to share that with you. Come with me. I'm Cyrus, and this is Toontum Network in Accra, Ghana. Be kind to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment when you find my content interesting. The very first thing I've learned from watching this interview is the need to always hear the other side. You must always hear the story of the other side. For more than 2 years now, we have always been told or heard stories behind the war in Ukraine as told by one side. President Zelensky of Ukraine has been granted several platforms to speak, including speaking at the U.S. Congress. Even the Canadian Parliament granted him that audience. The major media outlets and the rest have all cleared him to speak on their platforms on explaining from his point of view what has brought this war and why the rest of the world, especially the West, should side with Ukraine. And now we are privileged to hear from the other side of the person they call the aggressor. If you haven't watched it, I encourage you to do so. And you find the full interview on Tucker Carlson Network on X. Now, as an African watching and listening from far, there was one statement Putin mentioned which got my full attention and got me confused. Putin mentioned that the current president of Ukraine has legislated a non-negotiation law against Russia, meaning that the president of Ukraine has put in place a law that prohibits himself or any organization in Ukraine from initiating a dialogue between the two countries, between Russia and Ukraine. Now, is that a true statement? And if the answer is yes, then some of us are worrying ourselves in vain for the innocent people who are dying in that country, because we are genuinely wishing to wake up one day to see those two countries at the peace table trying to resolve the issues. But if one side has utterly bent the bridge that can bring about the negotiation to light, then I guess we aren't going to see any form of peace in the near future. Meanwhile, it is estimated that more than 10,000 civilians have been killed in Ukraine since the war broke out. And any well-meaning person will ask this question: shouldn't peace be the first thing on the minds of the people who are involved in this? By this time, everything Putin said suggested to me that he was willing and open to have a negotiation with the Ukrainians for peace. But everyone also knows that that won't be possible without the United States being in the middle of it all. After all, it is the USA and Germany who have so far been financing Ukraine in this war. So, what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? What is going to happen next if this situation continues? Will the USA officially send their troops there, or will NATO do that? Could this war end, perhaps, if America elects a new president in November of this year? Or will President Putin and Russia fold up and retract its soldiers? What do you think is going to happen? I need you to bring in your input on this issue, especially if you are more informed. And be civil in your comments, since this is a very delicate topic all around the world. Now, for all our African countries who were depending on Ukraine for your sunflower cooking oil or your wheat or grains, This is a message I have for you. You cannot depend on any country for your survival, especially moving forward. Feed yourselves. You won't survive on anybody's supply. Feed your own people. Come to think of it, which countries, especially in Africa, were so dependent on Ukraine during this period? Here is the list: Egypt, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan. Others relied on Ukrainian grains and cooking oil. And I am all for capitalism. But there you have it. Your supply is cut short. And people are dying on the other side. Our lands are still sitting idle with streams and rivers flowing freely into the oceans. And our people are jobless. Yet we manage to find money to import food to the tune of more than $1 billion a year to feed our people. The agricultural universities have research works and theories sitting on the shelves and collecting dust for decades. There are no plans of putting people to work on this continent. With all the sunshine we receive throughout the year, we simply cannot mechanize our farms to commercial levels to feed our people. Is this not madness? It appears it is the same demons that are everywhere on this continent. And this is why I'm encouraging the African youth to get into politics. Because these politicians we have don't want to get themselves dirty by creating anything. They would rather prefer to order for things and make money whilst doing so. If you find the conditions in your country deplorable and unacceptable, then you need to get to where you can also affect decision making in your country, or else it will always be business as usual and nothing will change. Finally, Tucker Carlson has opened that door of not being afraid to pursue and believe in what you stand for, in media especially, even if the entire media body is against you. Many media platforms weren't going to broadcast the interviews, and many didn't broadcast it. But the last time I checked, the interview had over 139 million views within 24 hours of its release on X. X, which is owned by Elon Musk and used to be called Twitter, has now become the next big thing in media, and is now open for people with alternative or unconventional ideas. This is where the world is headed, ladies and gentlemen. Be brave in your ideas and stand for what you believe in when you know you are on the side of truth. Being sidelined or excommunicated may not always be a bad idea. It may sometimes mean you start on your own. For if the 10 sons of Jacob knew they were selling off their brother Joseph to fulfill his destiny as a prince in Egypt, they would have rescinded their decision. So don't be afraid of being ostracized and rejected. It's only a matter of time if you continue to push forward and not give up. And to Tucker Carlson, I hope he doesn't stop here, but continue to get an interview with President Zelensky of Ukraine and other relevant people in this matter, including the Prime Minister of Germany, Olaf Scholz, and hopefully, the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. There is too much hunger in the world. Diseases are killing people in their numbers, and there is so much we can do with all that billions of dollars we are investing in destroying lives. Let's end the wars. Let's love humanity and be kind to one another. For in 50 years from now, many of us will most likely be passed on to eternity. All the same, thank you so much for taking time off your busy weekend to watch today's episode. I'll come your way again very, very soon. Until then, please remember and be generous to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment when you find this content interesting and you would like to see more of such. God bless you, and it's bye-bye for now.